If you're here to find some underappreciated shows or maybe hear me praise a few old favorites, you've come to the right place. This is Restless in Peace, and today we're spotlighting 91 Days. I'm Fennec, and I've been an anime fan for almost a decade and have watched hundreds of shows. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with friends. If you haven't seen 91 Days, spoilers ahead. Okay, so today we're talking about 91 Days because I have been bamboozled. Okay, 91 Days revolves around Angelo. Angelo's family was murdered in front of him by the mafia when he was a child, Pretty standard anime protagonist background. He barely managed to get away. The story kind of takes place about 7-ish years later. Angelo receives a letter that details the names and affiliations of the 3 individuals who murdered his family. So he moves back into the city, 7 years later, joins up with the Venetti mafia family, and slowly climbs up the mafia's ranks so he can get close to those who have wronged him and, kind of just off them. I started watching 91 Days because, and this is the reason why I was bamboozled, because I saw that people online were comparing Angelo and the things he does to Lelouch from Code Geass, and that's a fucking big claim. So, being that Code Geass is very firmly planted in my top 5, I had to watch this, and I was, I was fucking disappointed. At first, I didn't really know why. The things he was doing weren't on the same scale as the Lelouch, but he was definitely making some very high IQ plays. It's just, it just felt like something was missing, so I started recalling kind of smart boy scenes from Code Geass, as well as Death Note, which I don't like as much, but it's, it's still top 20, and I noticed that 2 things were missing in 91 Days. The first thing being, thoughts. We could hear Lelouch and Kira's thoughts, so we had a very detailed picture of what was going on. With Angelo, he did smart boy stuff, and you definitely understood what he does in that it's that it's smart boy stuff. But throughout the entire show, his actions maintain a sense of vagueness that takes away from their impact. Up till and including the last episode, you never really feel like his plans are actually settled, even though they are. And that's all because of the lack of detail. In the lack of him, it's the lack of him explaining the plan. How this usually goes is you see the plan, and then the main character explains the plan, and then it happens, and maybe he leaves a very critical part of the plan out, so you see it live, kind of tension. Maybe it's one of those things where he explains as you see the plan going. There are quite a few options, but point is the extra detail gives a much clearer picture of what happened, and that's what gives the whole thing that that extra oomph feeling that really makes it feel like a real 9,000 IQ play. And the second thing is expression. Both Lelouch and Kira have very extreme facial expressions when they're alone and thinking of their plan or how it went well. And, that very intense emotional reaction we see from them is a very big part of what convinces us of how important or meaningful whatever it is they're doing is to them. Well, with Angelo, you know that it matters to him, but you don't really feel that it matters to him. There are very few scenes that exist in the last few episodes that do actually do this, but those very few scenes don't supersede the rest of the series. Overall, 91 Days is a good show. It's fun to watch and is one of the very few mafia anime out there. But Angelo still isn't in the same universe as Lelouch. It's just an unfair comparison, and to the people who say that watching Angelo carry out his revenge is like watching Lelouch carry out his, stop! You're just creating more disappointment in the world. It's not the same scale. Just stop. I would have enjoyed 91 Days so much more than I had if I did not know about this comparison. Yes, true, I wouldn't have watched 91 Days if if I haven't known about this comparison, but that's beside the point. Point is, if I came into it without that comparison in mind, I would have enjoyed it a lot more. And it's a shame. Like, it's just disappointing. Just it's disappointment. Finally, I do recommend you watch 91 Days, like, if you haven't, because that, although it's not as good as Code Geass, like, not many things are, and it's still worth a watch. There are very few Mafia anime out there. When you finally find one, and one that's actually good, like, yeah, it's not fantastic, but it's pretty fucking good. Like, give it a watch. There just aren't enough out there. I really want there to be more Mafia anime. So, okay, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with friends. And have a nice day.